Alright, this is the second extension for Chapter 2. I want to talk about negative exponents and reciprocals today. Now, to help us understand this, we're going to use the exponent law for division. Do you remember that one? If I have x to the power of m divided by x to the power of n, so think about this, like 3 to the power of 6 divided by 3 to the power of 4. If you remember, oh yeah, that's supposed to be like 3 squared. That's correct. So what you need to do now is you subtract the exponents, m minus n. Good. So understanding this now, let's see if we can help us understand negative exponents. So 3 to the power of 5 divided by 3 to the power of 7, that's the same thing then as 3 to the power of 5 minus 7. And what's 5 take away 7? Yeah, that's 3 to the negative 2. Whoa. Interesting. Now, the next thing I'd like you to do is actually do this again. So let's do 3 to the power of 5 divided by 3 to the power of 7, but this time I'm going to rewrite it using repeated multiplication. That's 5 3's multiplied together, divided by 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And when we do this, yes, these divide out to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So you're left with 1 over 3 squared. What do you notice then? Well, hopefully you can see that 3 to the power of negative 2, the answer from here, is equivalent to 1 over 3 squared, the answer from over there. And what does that mean then? Well, I guess what you can see now is negative exponents can be written as the reciprocal, and that's what that 1 over means, as the reciprocal of its positive exponent. Nice. Now recall from the last extension where we had 7 to the power of 1/2 times 7 to the power of 1/2, and we said that was equal to 1, right? And then root 7 times root 7, whoops. Root 7 times root 7, that was the same thing as root 49, which was also 7. And since both of the answers above are the same, therefore what did we have? We wrote down that 7 to the 1/2 was equal to root 7, remember that? And remember also what we understood, that in general form or exponential form, x to the power of 1 over n equals to the nth root of x. Remember all that stuff? Well, now what I'd like to do is actually combine those two ideas together to help us understand negative fractional exponents. So in this case now I have 25 to the power of negative 1/2. Okay, this is negative 1/2 now, times 25 to the power of positive 1/2. Now using the exponent law, where we now have to add the exponents together since it's multiplication, we get here 25 to the power of 0, and anything to the power of 0 is actually equal to 1. Now remember how this power of 1/2 can be written as a root, so root 25. And so if we're doing the exact same thing, then that should also equal to 1, right? And if I were to rearrange this expression here to just have the 25 to the power of negative 1/2 by itself on the left-hand side, I have to take that root 25 and move it to the right-hand side by dividing. So that's the same thing as 1 over the square root of 25. And once again, that's the same thing as 1 over 25 to the 1/2. So notice what we've said here. In general now, the exponential form, x to the power of negative m over n, what does that become? The nth root of x raised to the power of m, but this time in the denominator. Okay? So, understanding that, can you simplify the following? This one for number 9, or number 1a, is just 9 to the power of negative 2. So the negative exponent is the same thing as 1 divided by the positive exponent. And therefore, we get 1 over 81. You bet. Now, how about this next one? Well, we have that negative, so we can go 1 over negative 2/3 raised to the positive exponent. Okay, we can actually do the denominator first. That becomes 1 over, and then negative 8 over 27. And then we can then flip it, since 1 divided by negative 8 over 27 is the same thing as 1 multiplied by 27 over negative 8. So our answer is just negative 27 over 8. Okay? Now, if that didn't hold well with you, the other way you could have done this, other option, is in order to get rid of that negative exponent, we can flip it first, because 1 divided by negative 2/3 is equal to negative 3/2. So we could have also flipped this and said negative 3/2 to the power 3. And if you do that, so if you do it like this, you get negative 3 cubed, which is 27. 2 squared is 4. Oops, not 2 squared, 2 cubed, which is 8. Same answer. Okay, either method works. It's up to you which one you work, or which one you like. Okay, what about evaluating powers with negative rational exponents? What can be done there? So see if you can simplify these now without a calculator. 125 to the power of negative 1 over 3. So that negative exponent, once again, I like to do that as a reciprocal. So 1 over 125 to the power of positive 1/3. And do you remember from the last lesson what the power of 1/3 was equal to? I hope so. The cube root of 125. That's correct. And the cube root of 125 is just 5. So the answer is 1/5. Okay. Once again here, a negative exponent. That's the same thing as 1 over 16 over 9 to the power of 1/2. The power of 1/2, of course, is the square root. That's the same thing as 4/3, and then 1 divided by 4/3 is equivalent to 1 times 3/4, so 3/4. And if you don't like this method, once again, you can just flip the fraction right away first. 3 becomes 9 over 16, and that eliminates that negative sign. That becomes 1/2, and then now this becomes just 3/4. That works as well. Okay? I'm going to let you try C on your own, please. So go ahead and pause and come back and double check. Hopefully you got 1 over 16, because that's what I got too. Okay? Alright, I think there are 2 more, and then we'll be done for this video. Oh, negative exponents once again. So 1 divided by negative 1 over 32 to the power of 2/5. We can rewrite that as the 5th root of negative 1 over 32 raised to the power of 2. And the 5th root of that would be negative 1/2. And then, of course, 1/2 squared is 1/4. That negative all squared also becomes positive. So 1 divided by 1/4 gives you 4. Or, once again, if you just like flipping it around right away, negative 32 over 1 raised to the power of 2/5. That works. The 5th root of negative 32. Then all squared. Then, of course, same thing. The lovely answer is 4. Okay? Ultimately, E, if you don't liking decimals, you can, of course, write them as fractions. So try something like this, and I'll let you decide which one you want to do, or which method, but in the end, the answer should be the same. Go ahead and try it, and then double check with me in the end. Square root, once again, remember the bottom number is the root, the top number is the power. 343 over 1,000. 1,000 over 343. Or, for those of you who like to flip it first, How about 100 over 49 to the power of 3 halves? Take the square root of 100 over 49, then raise it to the power of 3, 10 over 7 to the power of 3. You betcha, same answer. And there you have it. You're now a pro with negative exponents.